It's your boy Concert Viz 34, and a great announcement today for Dave Matthews Band fans. I'm going to talk about the new Live Trax 47 announcement. It's February 28th, 2019. This will be released on March 29th, 2019. So we have just over a month by a day of when this will be available to the public. And by that time, it'll actually be spring. So people in the Northeast, I'm sure you can relate to me. It's time. You know, I love the winter. I love skating outside, pond hockey, pond skating. But it's time to get to spring. And this will be a great way to enter spring with this show from the Meadows Music Theater in Hartford, Connecticut. And I was born and raised in Hartford County here in Connecticut. So I not only grew up literally right down the street from the Meadows. I know this venue, and this venue was about 2 years old when this show happened, and this was when DMB was starting to really become popular in Hartford, Connecticut, and even across the country. But this is 6/8/1997. And I'm going to give you some facts, some stuff you may not know, some stuff you will know. Most of the stuff you will know because it's public, but I grew up, again, in Hartford County, so I just want to share some stuff. So let's start off with some of the big things about this show. First, you have Bella Fleck, all right? He's featured on Lion Our Graves, Seek Up, Two Step, 41, Ants Marching, and Tripping Billies. A big songs there that he's on, and it's great, and the Flecktones were around for this entire tour. We also have Jeff Coffin, who was with Bella Fleck and the Flecktones at the time. His first guesting with the band, number 41, The Sojourn of a Junior Interpolation, which that is a Bella Fleck and the Flecktones song. So that is going to be a cool thing to hear the first time Jeff plays with the band. And just to put this in perspective, this is again why I say it's different when we talk about a violin player coming in, and when we talk about Jeff Coffin, the sax player. Jeff Coffin was with this band guesting as early as 1997. Even when he wasn't guesting, he was opening up for the band, seeing the band, understanding how they play, interacting with the band from 1997 all the way to now he's a full member. So remember that this is Leroy passed in 2008. So this is 11 years prior to, Jeff really having to step in, and he's already chilling with the band. He's already on tour with the band, and that's an 11-year period. So again, this is different when you talk about having a violin player come in and start doing it. The keys players who have jazz, have funk, who have a little bit of groove in them, like Butch and Buddy Strong, they're able to come in, but it's different when you have one of the core components of the band. So that's just a quick blurb again to tell people, guys, chill out, relax, stop talking about Talking Tunes. Post about this. Oh, Talking Tunes, thank you for your comment about the tickets, and I appreciate you had some really good comments there. Patrick Brewer's on. Yep. So Patrick says great to relieve a live track from the 90s. So you saw Leroy 4 months before his pass, and that's awesome. I never got to see Leroy. But the other thing I want to talk about is what kills me about these shows is I was growing up in the greater Hartford area, literally 15 to 20 minutes away from these shows with traffic. I'm talking traffic into the Meadows. And I never was at these shows. Again, I was 6 when this show came out, turned 7 a couple months later. But it kills me that all this great music was played year after year. And I was thinking, when they got to release another Hartford live tracks. They're going to do it sooner or later. I was hoping, as someone who saw this band, oh, you thought of me at Hartford? Okay, cool. Talking Tunes, so you thought of me when you first saw it. Better now than never, Patrick Brewer says. Yeah, no, it's true. And I wasn't sure which Hartford one they were going to pick. I knew something was going to come at some point. I mean, there's too many great shows here, too many historic shows, and 2-3 night stands. But I was pushing really for the 2013 6-7 2013, or even 6-8, which is a couple years. This is a decade or so, over a decade after this show, 6/8/2013, we got a Spoon and you had C Cup, you had a Best of What's Around. For at that time in 2013, it was very rare to get a BOA. So I was hoping, hey, the 2013 shows were amazing there. Those were the shows that got me to not just go to one show a year, to go to a bunch of shows a year. It's there's so many great shows, but I was like, and then they have Camden and I think it's either Riverbend or Cincy. One of those Ohio shows is for 2013 as a live tracks. So it's like, all right, the odds are they're not going to release another 2013 song. I mean, a 2013 track anytime soon. But there's some great mid 2000s shows, some tapers that I've gotten access to for their shows in the mid 2000s, like the '04 shows in Hartford. '04 was amazing across the board. The '04 shows in Hartford were just spectacular. And I've heard those, listened to those from tapers. Hoping maybe something in that time frame, but again, there's a lot already released. But I looked at this track list. At first, I said 97. I was like, I don't know much about 97. It's a blind spot in my DMB listening. There's just not many releases that I've heard from 97. Not many taper things I've heard from 97. So, but then when I looked at the set list and I saw Bella was there, I was like, oh, okay, this is good. This is a great one. Let's choose it. But I'm excited that Hartford got picked. And then I'm talking to you. Oh, Bella Fleck and June 30th. Oh, so 2 days ahead of Riverbend. And you never know, as to use the DMB song reference. And hopefully, I mean, I would love to see Bella come in. And I'm going to the Gorge this year. So I anytime he joins the band, he's amazing. And June 30th, so he's going to be in Ohio. And I'm looking to see Bella Fleck solo. He's coming to Storrs, Connecticut. And it's him and someone who plays the keys, I believe. I have to look more into it. And I'm looking to go see that show because I've been wanting to see Bella Fleck. I've never seen the Fleck Tones. I've wanted to see Victor Wooten. No matter what way, I'll take him. And so he's coming through. Right. No, it does. Yeah, because he's in these songs, and this is when Bella is, the Lie in Our Graves, the 41s, and even like just having him on Seek Up. Like I can't wait to hear that Seek Up and Ants. Having the dueling banjo. Just he's on this, and that's a big plus of getting this. I will buy this. I was gonna buy it because it's from Connecticut anyway, but I'm gonna buy it just because of you have Bella Fleck and you have something that's special here with these shows. And Talking Twos will be at Riverbend. Okay, awesome. Yep, and hopefully it doesn't flood. I saw last year there was flooding. I mean, it didn't flood the day of the show, but I saw that it did flood last year. I made a video about that. But yeah, let me get back. So back on to what I was talking about. Yeah, so obviously Bella Fleck, that's a big plus to make fans want to buy this one compared to some of the other live tracks. And the live tracks have been great, but to have Bella Fleck, to have a 97, and then have a Leave Me Praying, before there was Don't Drink the Water, to have the only Leave Me Praying played in Hartford ever, and then it was the second of about 26 that summer. So I'm interested to hear that, and it splits up Say Goodbye and 41. So you have a 41 Leave Me Praying, and then a Say Goodbye. Like that by itself is just a great run, and that's not even considering. Again, you have a C Cup, a Graves, a BOA. I mean, you have the tour debuts of One Sweet World and BOA back to back at this show. Those are great things that are going to make this show highly anticipated for a lot of fans. And it's a shorter show than what it's 2 hours, 18 minutes, 27 seconds of song time, and it's 16 songs. But I mean, obviously back in the day they didn't play as long. And what they played. I mean, Leroy played. The whole band played. Like, they had shorter shows, but they played the heck out of those songs. I'm excited to really hear this. And another fun fact, growing up again in Hartford, this was the first show in Hartford since the Whalers had officially left. So a couple months before this, 6.5-year-old Concert Viz 34 was at the last Whalers game. And this was the first one, and obviously they only had a certain amount of shows, but it's funny because you have a Leave Me Praying. We were praying for a team to come back. You have a 41, you have a Say Goodbye. and you have a Seek Up, and I mean that they weren't playing those songs because the Whalers left, but this is an interesting point in Hartford history because what you see is from here, the summer of '97, the Whalers leave. This concert, according to DMB Almanac, 26,187 fans. That's pretty, I guess you could call that a sellout. You could get allegedly 30,000 fans if you sell out the lawn and really pack it. But 26,000, I mean, that's either close to a sellout, and back in those days, that may have been the capacity or close to capacity. But I've seen nearly 30,000 people in Hartford for a bunch of different shows. And it's a beautiful sight. But this was the first show since the Whalers had left. And what happened is, as this venue opened up, I believe in '95, I think my first time here, I helped out. There was like so I was born and raised as a Christian, still a Christian, but there was some sort of gospel event that I actually helped walk through this venue. So this venue was very new at this time. So I remember going to this venue around this time, and this venue started to become, when the Whalers leave, you don't have a professional hockey team, and you have this brand spanking new venue in Hartford, Connecticut. This starts this whole every Friday, Saturday show, any show during the weekend, kids would plow down to Hartford, Connecticut, and most of them were underage. That's just the reality of it. As far as under the drinking age, under the age of 21, many kids were 15, 16, 17, taking mommy and daddy's car down to Hartford from all points. You had the rich suburbs, you had the middle class or working class areas, you had the very farm, country, rural areas, East Windsor, Suffield, Granby, Windsor Locks. People would all come in, even Springfield, even Western Mass would come down because you're closer in Western Mass to Hartford than you are to the Mansfields and Bostons, the Gillette Stadium, or Foxborough Stadiums at the time where DMB would play towards the late 90s, early 2000s. Hartford was closer. So it became a culture in this area around 97, 98 as this band does I think it was the second show they did here or so. And this show, after this show, DMB becomes a part of Hartford culture because we don't have a pro team. All we really have are these concerts. Hootie and the Blowfish came. There was a show, Wu-Tang and not Sister. I'm thinking of Tommy Morello, not Audios before. I'm drawing a blank, and I know the band's name. Legendary band from the 90s. But there was Wu-Tang, and then I know that I'm hearing Guerrilla Radio right now in my head. What are I'm drawing I don't know why I'm just drawing a blank. Right, Rage Against the Rage Against the Machine, right? So the Wu-Tang and Rage Against the Machine did a show here in the late '90s, and this venue becomes big around this time. DMB does these shows, and this is really the culture of Hartford. How you see it now starts around 97, 98. By that I mean you have a lot of young kids, a lot of drunk kids on the lawn, but you have a lot of fans of music too. And you have the riots towards the turn of the century. You have riots here, and there's a lot going on. And people, all you had to do is, there wasn't much to do here in Connecticut outside of go to the meadows and get drunk. If you were a teenage kid looking for fun, looking for trouble, looking for girls looking for boys, etc., this was the spot to go. In most tailgates, you have people partying, you have people drinking, you have young kids. But in Hartford, you have a large amount of people just showing up for the party. Some of these people will be converted into DMB fans because their friend told them to go. There was some attractive man or woman they were trying to chase at that show, and they ended up going because all the cool kids were there. And you have people who go there to drink, to smoke, to do whatever, end up becoming music fans because of the culture of the Meadows. And you see this with this venue, with the departure of the Whalers. That was one of the things you could do downtown. Even though they weren't in the summer, that was one of the things you could do. And music becomes a mainstay to this day. This venue has a 22,000 seat lawn. And it fills up for a lot of the big country shows. For Dave Matthews, I was up there talking to a couple people this past year, but I had seats. But the lawn fills up. Now it doesn't fill up like it did, back-to-back nights in back in the day, but it still fills up to near capacity. And really, the lawn, again, near capacity is 17, 18,000 people on the lawn. So that's why it's very hard to get a sellout in Hartford, because you have to get around 22,000 people. Sometimes they sell less tickets and they let more people in with lawn chairs, but it's a pretty big lawn. So the fact that Hartford, fills up these shows, it just shows you the culture is, hey, you have you have a lot of people with seats in the pit down low, about 6,700 seats in pit area, and then you have a 22,000 person lawn. And to this day, the country is the new D&B, really, but some of the country stuff is wearing off. Some of the shows don't get as much of the feel, but the country shows, if you go to a country show in Hartford, you're going to get that feeling of D&B was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when there was just people partying. So people just would show up, and they wouldn't, just like with certain football games, some people just would tailgate. They wouldn't even, that's how the riot started in Hartford, is because there were tailgaters there just trying to pick up chicks, pick up guys, talk, party, and they were just there for the atmosphere, and they had nothing else to do, and they didn't have a ticket. So that's one of the things that plagued Hartford in these days, is people would just come down there to just chill, not even go in. And it's right by, everything is right there. It's not like some of these other venues that are more way out in the suburbs. This is in downtown Hartford, not too far from the hood, the north end of Hartford, but it's the North Meadows portion of Hartford by the Connecticut River, and it's just an interesting thing. But that's all I got. I don't want to go too long. Today, I will try to be back here on Saturday. If I'm not here Saturday, I will be here Sunday. The reason I say that is I got some plans with the girlfriend, and I probably won't be on Saturday, depending on how late we hang out. But if I can be on Saturday, I will be on. We'll be talking about tickets. Again, I will be sharing information from people I know that worked at different secondary marketplaces in the Hartford area. So they know about the listings. They know about what brokers do. They know the mindset of how tickets change prices, and some of the stuff that goes on to make what you see happen. Why is there a seat listed for $5,000? Well, I'll tell you why. There's reasons for that, and we'll talk about that Saturday, about the whole kind of system of the secondary market. But thank you guys for watching Talking Tunes, and then my boy Patrick, and whoever else is on. I'm sure John is on, or he's watching again. And Patrick, did you see, real quick, I saw on Twitter, Michigan, you had Harbaugh having an interview, and then Beeline is right in front of him yelling because he's coaching the Michigan basketball team. Harbaugh's there on an ESPN interview. I thought that was funny. It was on Twitter. I saw a couple hours ago, just a clip of them trying to interview Harbaugh, and then you got Beeline coaching during the game, yelling at someone. A pretty cool thing. Oh, you saw that, Patrick? Yeah, I just saw a quick clip, but I thought it was just funny. And usually Harbaugh, he'd be the one yelling if it was like if it was a Saturday game out there at the big house. But pretty cool thing. But thank you guys for the support again. Possibly Saturday, and well, Beeline, Patrick. The problem is though, basketball doesn't generate enough revenue. Actually, the only thing that generates the only difference with I'll talk real quick about it, but you know that though. You're a Michigan fan, yeah. College basketball just doesn't generate that as much money per se during the regular season. Now during the tournament itself is a fundraiser. The NCAA tournament, I'll be trying to go to the first round here in Hartford for one of the 3 sessions. The NCAA tournament is a fundraiser to fund a lot of the stuff, but that tournament, the reason it makes so much money is because there's so many rounds. The football bowls, yeah, they make money, but $133 million a year. Football, yeah, and you know that, yeah. So that's the thing, is college basketball, especially now, it's really become, now this year we had some big matchups, Zion, and we had some upsets, and the Big East has some flair. And I'm a UConn guy, but the Big East basketball, there's some matchups that people were watching, and you have some of the coaches, Ewing versus with St. John's, their coach, playing against Ewing back in the day, Chris Mullen. So you have that, and that brings a little more fanfare. Syracuse, UConn, which I saw we beat Syracuse. That's been reviving me watching earlier in the year more frequently. Oh, your cousins are Cuse fans. Syracuse. I mean, they're forced to be reckoned with. Tons of upstate New York is all Syracuse, but the tournament itself is a fundraiser because of all the rounds, all the tickets that are sold. There's just so many more games, and but football runs it. You know, the regular season football games, they, like you said, 133 million a year. That's crazy. And actually, really quickly, UConn here in Connecticut, one of the things we made the mistake. We lost, I think it was like 4 million or something. We're 4 or 8 million down this past year, because we made the push to be Division One from Division 1A. We built the stadium, Rincher Field, where Michigan played, and again, that was a selling point in season tickets that year, was you get the Michigan game for a really low price. Buy the whole plan, and it's like $200 for an upper level seat in the back, but still, it's a $200 for one game. Those tickets are going for $200, and it's a very small thing. Anyway, the point is, we made that move in the mid 2000s, and now because the team is bad, because the conference, the Big East, broke up, we're regretting making that move. And I did not see that, but I know that Wichita State was playing UConn men. Those are my guys, and I saw them versus Houston last month live. They've played teams tight. They play good teams tight like Cincinnati, and then they lose. And they play bad teams tight, and they still lose. Some of the bad teams, they lose by more. So we've almost beat Cincinnati twice, but lost both times by, I think, 3 or like a 5-point margin each time, and at most. And it's just UConn. That's all we have. All we have here in Connecticut is basketball, UConn basketball, and concerts. And that's really our biggest things. UConn football had a couple years where we made it versus Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. We were trash, but the payout was so much. Even losing was a big thing. We had a couple. Danny Orlovsky, Michigan guy, Patrick. You know, he played for the winless. The winless Lions, and he was our quarterback, and he won at the Motor City Bowl for us. That was our first bowl win, I believe, and then we won the International Bowl a couple years later. Yeah, we almost beat you guys a couple years ago. We played because we had a game at the Big House, and then we had a game. In East Hartford, where the Rincher Field was made, right by an old airfield. Pratt and Whitney is an engineering company that works with Boeing and the government. But anyway, yeah, we almost beat you guys in 2013, right? Yeah, because that was the year we went to the Big House. We were trying to beat Appalachian State, right? We were trying to beat them. But yeah, we had good players. We had Aaron Hernandez's brother went to UConn. Aaron Hernandez, I saw him. He grew up about 20 minutes away from me. He was a conference rival or conference team. I saw him play in high school, but his brother went there, and we had some good recruits in when the team first went to D1, and now it's just an impossible feat. You know, the Big Ten has the money, and that's where people go. If they want to play cold weather, they go play in the Big Ten schools. They don't play it in the Northeast, and that's our problem. But the recruiting is very hard. We get some Florida. What we were doing initially, we were getting some guys from Florida who were underrated. Yeah, Oklahoma. Yeah, but that was just making that game was the win. After that, everything went downhill, and that's why our after that year we got that payout bonus, and then after that, because that was 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. I mean, from 20, and then we had Randy Edsel. He went to Maryland. He just came back. After that Fiesta Bowl year, and then we had Todman, our running back, who's a really great running back. After that year, things just went downhill, and we weren't making those bowls the same bowls. We were making smaller time bowls, and then we made no bowls. So the payout from that year was like, yeah, let's go. Let's keep this D1 thing going. And since then, 2014, we have just been doomed. and gloomed, and we had one win this year, and I was at that game versus URI, lost to UMass. I mean, we lost. Should be a win, and we lost there. But hey, thank you guys for being on. Good talking a little football, basketball, college sports, which is another hobby of mine. I love sports. I love attendance. I love figures. I love how programs split up. They break down. Conferences set themselves aside, like the Big East, which was a great basketball conference that people left for football money. Teams wanting to go to ACC, Catholic schools wanting to have their own Catholic conference. And one of the saddest things was when the Big East broke up, all the great players and everything there. But that's it. That's it. I'm going to get off, I promise. But thank you guys for the support. Really appreciate it. I cannot say it enough. Appreciate the opinions and input. Again, I'm only one person. I don't know everything. And I love when people exchange, when they tell me I'm right, when I'm wrong, they agree, disagree. Thank you guys for the support. It's your boy ConserViz34, and I am out. Peace.